Our past experiences, our history, they have an intense impact on who we are. They shape our thoughts, influence our actions, and most times even decide our future. This is shocking, right? Let me tell us how our past, if allowed, does all this. It starts with our attitudes. Hi, friends. My name is God's Gift Ejike, and I'm your host on Strategic Living Nuggets. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. Our last podcast dwelled on the subject of meeting ourselves. In it, I shared with us the decision that I took after I had a session with myself. After that encounter, I realized that truly a meeting with oneself is one action that an individual has to take in order to experience certain heights in life. I also realized that if and when an individual decides to have this interaction with his or her inner self, there are many other things that will follow with such engagements. As I said earlier in the last podcast, this meeting with our innermost being shouldn't be a one-off meeting, but rather a meeting that ought to take place from time to time. Let me share with us one other lesson that I learned when I had one of such meetings with myself. Most times when we come across certain commands in the scriptures, we often at times don't see these instructions as having direct bearing on our lives. There's a reason why the scriptures instructs us to forget the past and not to remember them anymore. Let's see this from the book of Isaiah chapter 43 verse 18, the Message edition. Forget about what happened. Don't keep going over old history. Succinctly put, this was an instruction that God gave to Isaiah, and this instruction speaks to us today. Now, when I had this interactive session with my innermost being, this was one of the things that I came out with. I had to forget the past in entirety. This included forgiving myself of any mistake whatsoever that I might have made in the past, and also forgetting them. Yes, I made quite a lot of mistakes while growing up, and I haven't stopped. We are all a work in progress. When I checked, I didn't really have anyone that I had to forgive, no one that I held any grudges against. But in my past, I made mistakes that once in a while will come into my thoughts. And truly, I always felt I could have done much better each time those thoughts came to my mind. These were my past that I had to forget. Now, let me tell you why we should, as a matter of principle, forgive and forget our past. Our past experiences, our history, they have an intense impact on who we are. They shape our thoughts, influence our actions, and most times even decide our future. This is shocking, right? Let me tell us how our past, if allowed, does all this. It starts with our attitudes. Our attitude is that mental disposition that we use to engage life. It is our angle of attack to life. Our attitudes are determined by our expectations. The expectations that we have about ourselves and our lives are very powerful. They exact an immense influence on our personalities. And you know what? These expectations come from the experiences that we have had in past, whether positive or negative. When we allow these experiences, especially the negative ones, take root in our lives, they create our expectations, thereby shaping our attitude to life, which in turn shapes our lives. When we have negative experiences in life that has now become a part of our history, they come to mind whenever we try to take on new engagements in life. Most times, when we remember this past, they have an effect on our attitudes. The things we would have pursued with so much vigor and verve ends up lacking such needed verve. And most times, we end up abandoning such pursuits. Why? Because the attitude with which we engaged such pursuits were faulty. But when we decide to clear our past, forgetting all about our mistakes, our shortcomings, forgiving those that hurt us, those relationships that never ended well, that when we remember them, they tend to spoil our day. Choosing to let go than to hold on. When this become our disposition, we enter a new lease of life that opens up new opportunities for growth in every area of our lives. Friends, we have to remember that when the subject of forgiveness and forgetting our past is mentioned, it's not really about exonerating the other person's actions, but rather a release of yourself from bitterness and freeing yourself up for a better future. This is a choice that lies before us. Therefore, let's make this right choice now. Forget the past and forgive yourself. The future is so bright and it has so much in store for us. Thank you.